The man who has lucked in to take pole is Simon Faulkner. He missed the last round at Snetterton for the championship, so he starts on pole in the number 92 Iveco alongside number 46 Bradley Smith, looking for his first win in the championship, the youngest man on the grid in his MAN. Second row, number 12 Michael Oliver and number 68 Craig Reed, MAN and Iveco again. Then on row 3 we've got the championship protagonists David Jenkins and Ryan Smith, MAN TGX and Daimler Freightliner. The fourth row, number 3, Stephen Powell, starts alongside the 10 times champion Stuart Oliver, father of Michael, in his Volvo VNL. The fifth row, 86 Tom O'Rourke from Scotland in his MAN alongside 95 Ricky Collett. Now Ricky may have had an incident in the practice session earlier on this morning, as we heard from Jock Borthwick, so I'll wait to see if Ricky's on the grid for this one. Coming out of the assembly area now onto circuit. Row 6 of the grid will be number 14 of John Bowler. His first season in Division 1 this year, starting alongside number 33, Neil Yates. Then there's a gap of 3 rows, and we have the Division 2 grid, slightly less powerful, less modified trucks, headed up by gentleman Jim Bennett, 74 years young, at the wheel of his Seddon Atkinson Strato, alongside number 6, John Powell, one of our title contenders in the DAF in Division 2. Behind them, number 10, Craig Evans in his MAN, alongside the man we just heard from, number 5, Adam Bint in the Volvo White, and Paul Rivette, number 22, the multiple Renault Clio champion, starts alongside number 41, Simon Cole in his Iveco, who's moved from Division 1 to Division 2 over the course of the season after problems with his Division 1 MAN earlier this year. So we've got 4 trucks on track then being brought around to the grid. The rest of them will join us in just a moment. It'll be a rolling start and then a 15-minute race, the first of 6 truck races, a real treat for everyone this weekend here at the Pembrey circuit. Thanks to everybody who's commented on our YouTube stream so far. Hello to Basher MAN, he's watching at Hatchett's Hairpin, the first corner here at Pembrey. Mark Budgeon says, are we due a dry day's racing? Hopefully. Hi to Frank Rowland, Ethan Dance, Nick Kerrison Davey, who says Bowler Racing overtook me on the M4 yesterday. And there is John Bowler, number 14, MAN at the back of the Division 1 grid. Hi to Dan Stevenson, Brum Racing, and also Posh Stars Hospitality, who says, really hope the boss has a good race. Come on, John Powell in truck number 6 in Division 2. Trucks coming out of their assembly area at the crossing. And there is Ricky Collett. Good to see the number 95 has made it out. Didn't set a time in practice earlier on after a collision with Jock Borthwick. Now, incidentally, you won't see Jock Borthwick in this race. He was absent from Thruxton, of course, so not able to take part in this race. Jock having missed the last 3 race weekends after injury sustained in a motorcycle accident earlier this season. But the Scotsman is back, as we heard from earlier, and will be taking part in a few laps on a bike later on in aid of the My Name's Donny campaign for motor neurone disease research in the charity incentive organised by young Holly Brownsell and her family. We'll see Holly leading everybody around on track. She'll be after Pointy's job soon, I reckon. Hi to Alex Spencer, watching from the circuit entrance. Big fan of Ryan Smith, and there he is on the outside of the 3rd row in the number 1. But it's Simon Faulkner in his Iveco, number 92, on pole position, comes from Hampshire, in the Brooklands Plant and Tools sponsored machine. Made his debut here at Pembrey a couple of years ago. Missed the last round at Snetterton, and is quite a way down the Division 1 points table at the moment. He's in 13th place in the championship on 85 points. Bradley Smith alongside him, 4th in the championship, the 21-year-old. Started racing trucks before he was old enough to have an HGV licence. That proves that you don't have to have an HGV licence to race trucks. You just need an ARDS licence, a circuit racing licence. That's why Paul Rivette was able to switch straight into truck racing from cars. Overcast, but so far dry weather here in South Wales at the Pembrey circuit, just near Bury Port on the south coast of the country. On a former airfield site, the active airfield is just next door to the circuit. You do sometimes see aerobatics pilots practicing over the circuit. Very popular venue for rallycross as well. The BTRC Clubman's Rallycross Championship, among others, has made several visits this year. Hi to Sean Quibell, watching in Kent, says good luck everyone, good to see Jock Borthwick back. Yeah, certainly has established himself as a great character in truck racing, has the Mad Scotsman over the last couple of years. Scored a win here at Pembrey earlier this year, his first Division 1 victory. Hi to Andy Spate as well, thanks for all your comments so far. So this will be a 15-minute race, a rolling start. The TRP truck and trailer parts pace truck is in position. Marshals and team members just checking the trucks ahead of our first race of the weekend. First of 15 races across the course of the weekend. And we will have also a qualifying session coming up after this. We'll see what the local heroes can do. The Welsh Sports and Saloon Car Championship, organised by the Welsh Racing Drivers Association, their home circuit here at Pembrey. Although you don't have to be Welsh to race in it, we've got drivers from all over England and Wales come and race in the WRDA series. We'll introduce those to you after this race. Hi to Ellie Wilkie, says, let's go Jock Borthwick. Hi to Jamesy Boy as well. Great to have you all with us here at the Pembrey circuit. So just awaiting the all clear from the marshals to get this first race underway. Can Ryan Smith seal his 8th consecutive British title over the 6 races this weekend? It's 15 points for a win, so there's 90 points available, plus a point in each race for the fastest lap, and 1 point for pole position as well. In the qualifying session this morning, I can tell you Ryan Smith continued his clean sweep of pole positions this season. In Division 2 qualifying, the extra point went to Adam Bint, who snatched pole from Paul Rivette with the very last lap of the session by less than 3/300ths, I should say, of a second. And he leads by 14 points now over Paul Rivette's in the Division 2 Championship, with John Powell a further 16 back. So the Division 2 battle, I'm certain, is going down to the last round of the year at Brands Hatch in November. Truck racing and fireworks, and there's certainly going to be some fireworks on track on that occasion. So it looks like we're almost ready then. Yep, the board is held aloft by the marshals on the start-finish line. And the green flag will be waved. It's the 30-second board. So we'll see the green flag within the next 30 seconds, and the DAF will lead them away. Try and do the mathematics after each race to see how the championship points are progressing. Okay, here we go with the rolling starts. Looks like we got us a convoy here at Pembrey. Stuart Oliver, the 10 times champion in number 7. He's won the European Truck Racing Championship as well in the past. Norbert Kiss, the Hungarian, is the current king of European truck racing. Jim Bennett in the Seddon Atkinson leads the 6 Division 2 trucks. They come down to Hatchett's Hairpin, the tightest corner on the circuit. There's normally a bit of a traffic jam here in the opening laps. There's Neil Yates, number 33, now in a Division 1 truck. He was in Division 2 at Thruxton when he had that big smash after his throttle stuck open on the first corner. So there's Hatchett's Hairpin. You can see how tight it is. Then it's up towards the right at Spitfires, showing the airfield origins of this very flat Welsh circuit. Then the left at Dibeny, and over the crossing where we saw the trucks emerge. There's Dibeny. Then over the crossing where we saw the trucks emerge from the assembly area in the paddock. Through the crossing exit, through the left-hander, up towards Senna. Ayrton Senna at one stage did hold the outright lap record here at Pembrey, because on occasions in the 90s, Formula 1 teams did do some testing here. This is Senna corner, the right-hander. We're on board with Bradley Smith. See, it's pretty muddy here if you get offline. A bit of mud's been kicked up there on the grass on the outside of the exit of Senna. And it's down to Brooklands corner at the far end of the circuit, named after Britain's first purpose-built race circuit. Somebody's been off there. You see the tyre tracks heading into the tyre wall. That may well have been Simon Faulkner, because he went missing during qualifying. Then it's along Speedway Straights. Well, to my knowledge, speedway racing has never been held here at Pembrey. The only Welsh speedway track in South Wales was at Newport, and one was briefly open at Carmarthen. And through towards Honda Curve at the end of the lap. Here we go then with our first race of the weekend, the Thruxton race for the British Truck Racing Championship. This will be a 15-minute race. Pace truck into pit lane. Green flags displayed around the circuits. Battle in Division 2 is going to be interesting. The revs are up, waiting for the lights to go out. And here we go with the first of 6 truck races this weekend here at the Pembrey circuit, down towards Hatchett's Hairpin for the first time. It's Bradley Smith who's got away. Well, look at Michael Oliver straight up the outside. He's never going to get the truck stopped in time there, surely. Yes, he is. He's got it stopped. Brilliant from Michael Oliver around the outside. They've somehow all got round the hairpin. Somebody's gone wide onto the grass there. I think that's John Bowler has hit the grass. He doesn't want to get bogged down in the mud. It's Bradley Smith who leads, ahead of Craig Reed, and down to 5th is Simon Faulkner. A poor start from the pole sitter in the grey Iveco. Division 2 is headed up by Adam Bint, already mixing with Division 1. Look, Neil Yates being relegated back in the 33. Now, John Powell, that is, that's got problems. He said he's been having teething problems with the DAF over the last couple of meetings, so maybe it was him who went off. Similar colour to John Bowler, so maybe got the two Johns mixed up there. Running wide, that's Tom O'Rourke. He's going off. No grip on the grass. Look at the mud he's churning up there. The Scotsman, somebody else. I think that was Paul Rivette going wide behind him as well. So Tom O'Rourke drops back into the Division 2 trucks. It's a bit more slippery out there than it looks, I think. Division 2 headed by Adam Bint, ahead of Craig Evans. Simon Cole's come through into 3rd, so Paul Rivette was delayed there. Across the line they go. Michael Oliver on the grass as well. Are there a few drops of rain falling? I think there might be. I saw Michael Oliver with his wipers on there. It's Brad Smith who leads the way, ahead of Craig Reed by half a second. Simon Faulkner on the outside of Stuart Oliver. Gets a bit of a punt there going into the hairpin. Ricky Collett's drifting his MAN. That was how Kurt Goranson would drive it, power sliding like that, the former European champion. Yes, a couple of trucks with the wipers on, so I think the rain has arrived just as the race got underway, which is just about typical luck for the championship. Same thing happened to Snetterton earlier this year. Bradley Smith leads it from Craig Reed. 3rd is Ryan Smith, who as ever has slipped through the gap as everybody else has gone sliding wide. Number 7 of Stuart Oliver on the tail of Simon Faulkner, who's running well at the moment. It's that 5th place. Stuart gets up the inside of Brooklands. David Jenkins in behind him. Craig Reed is going for the lead in the Iveco down Speedway Straights. Can he get the inside line away for this right-hander towards Honda Curve? Ryan Smith up on the tail of them. Ryan Smith has won the first and second race of every weekend this year, but of course had to come through from 6th, with this being the Thruxton extra race where he had to start further back on the grid. But it's only going to take him 2 laps to get through the front. Just look at this. Straight up the inside, into the hairpin. Well, he's not even going to get as far as the hairpin before he's in front. We're on board with Bradley Smith. Ryan Smith has taken the lead. Craig Reed cuts the nose off our camera truck. And the Iveco has 2nd as they head out towards the back of the circuit once again. Craig, the only Reed out there in this one. No Simon Reed. We'll see him out later on. He missed the Thruxton round, Simon Reed, so not able to start this race. Work commitments prevented him from racing in Hampshire. So he and Jock Borthwick have had to sit this race out. There are the Olivers, father behind son. And David Jenkins, Stephen Powell, Simon Faulkner, Ricky Collett and John Bowler. Through centre corner they go. There's Adam Bint leading Division 2. Still ahead of Tom O'Rourke after he's off on the first lap. Craig Evans 2nd in Division 2. Then we've got Simon Cole, who's about to lose that place to Paul Rivette. Through goes the Napa MAN. Past the number 41 of Cole, who started the season in Division 1, but his MAN gave endless trouble, so has switched to the Iveco in Division 2. Sliding about there, John Bowler chasing Ricky Collett, the heavy haulage company boss from Yorkshire. Real veteran of British truck racing in the number 95. He's a former champion. That was way back in 1995 and 97. 61 years of age and still going strong. Bradley Smith, the youngest man on this grid. He's just 23. Started at the age of 21. Under pressure here from the number 12 of Michael Oliver. Scored a win here at Pembrey earlier this season, won the final race of our visit in the spring. He's not won since then. His best result has been a second at Snetterton in race 4. Charge their way down Speedway Straight. Bradley Smith, the Olivers, David Jenkins, Stephen Powell, John Bowler still attacking, Ricky Collins, the Rochdale LGV training truck. Also sponsored by Rapid Rubber. Plenty of rubber being burnt with the sideways moments we've had so far. Plenty of grass being churned up as well. Phil Davies, the circuit manager, won't be too happy. Still your leader is Ryan Smith. He's clearing off into the distance, as he always seems to. In the first couple of races of the weekend this season, even the reverse grid couldn't stop him here. Started from 6th, was into 3rd at the end of lap 1, and took the lead at the end of lap 2. This is the battle for the lead in Division 2, with Adam Binns holding off Craig Evans. He's desperate for his first win in Division 2. He's had a few second places this year, but yet to win. Tom O'Rourke's got the more powerful MAN ahead of them now. Paul Rivette's 3rd in the Division 2 race. He's had a whole string of wins in recent rounds. He would have scored a maximum at Donington at Convoy in the Park, but in the Tom O'Rourke goes off again. I know I said this is a popular rallycross circuit, Tom, but we're not playing truck cross. As I was saying, Paul Rivette's would have won all 5 at Donington, but a loose turbo pipe slowed him in the first race. He was only beaten in race 4 at Snetterton as well, with 3 wins and a second, so 8 wins in the last 10 races. Across the line they go. Smith has increased his lead again over Craig Reed to 2.75 seconds. He's obviously done the fastest lap of the race, 1:11.24 for Flying Ryan. Oh, Craig Reed's off. Craig Reed's gone off, coming out of the hairpin into the tyre wall. Now, what's happened there? He was second, he won't be now. Must have just got a wheel onto the grass and got sideways. That's how slippy it is if you get offline. So we've lost our second place truck. That's going to put Bradley Smith up to P2. Into P3 will be one of the Olivers. Yes, Stewart's got ahead of Michael now, so Stewart's up to 3rd. David Jenkins in 5th. Now, is that going to see a race stoppage? I think it is. Yeah, the red flag's coming out. Just come up on the timing screen. There's the reason. Craig Reed stuck there in the Iveco. He can't get it out of the tyre wall. We'll try and see in replay what happened if we can. That's the race being stopped, with Craig Reed in a dangerous position there. If another truck was to go off on the exit of the hairpin, it would be at risk of collecting him. There were 8 minutes and 4 seconds left on the clock, so we weren't quite at half distance. I would imagine we will see a restart here. Trucks pulling up onto the grid. Fair bit of steam coming from, in particular, Michael Oliver's truck. That's coming from the water-cooled brakes that these race trucks have. See the steam coming from the wheels. Okay, race stopped with Craig Reed in the tyre wall. We'll await news on a restart, and we'll see the recovery team in operation as well to get Craig Reed back to the paddock. Let's have a look again. We're on board with Bradley Smith in the 46. Try and see a replay if we can of what's happened there as soon as we're able. So Ryan Smith's progress checked in this first race. Let's have a look again. On board with Bradley Smith. Let's see if we can see what happened. Craig Reed, the red truck in front of us, swings off the hairpin, and the truck just understeers out wide. It just goes straight on. That was rather bizarre. That was as if something broke in the steering there, because he just suddenly changed direction and went straight on into the tyre wall. Here comes the heavy artillery. Tractor being required to drag it off the grass. This is Tom O'Rourke's incident from earlier in the race, just a little bit too late on the brakes there. We see the, look at the left rear wheel locking up as he hit the grass. No grip there. Off he goes. Bit of rallycross. Churns up the grass. And back on again, and Paul Rivette's went wide there as well, trying to take Craig Evans and lost ground. Here are the Olivers. This is just after there. We see in the background, look, suddenly Craig Reed just went straight on. I don't know what's happened there, whether something broke in the steering. He came off the hairpin and just suddenly went straight. It was bizarre. Right, the trucks are being re-gridded into, I think, the order that they were in when the race was stopped. So we are going to have a restart here. The trucks haven't been taken back to the paddock. Quick chance to mention some of the partner sponsors of British Truck Racing. Likes of Green Biofuels, GBF, suppliers of high-performance HVO fuel, pioneered by Adam Bint in the championship last year. An alternative to diesel. So no fossil fuels being used by race trucks these days, as Stuart Oliver gets out of his MAN, just performing some checks. Others we've mentioned, TRP Parts, the UK's largest range of truck and trailer parts. Road Transport Media, publishers of Truck and Driver magazine and Commercial Motor, among others. MV Commercial, headed up by Tom O'Rourke. Vision Track Telematics, Freyhav Trailers, Total Care Vehicle Lifts and Testing Equipment, GT Tyres, MAN Truck and Bus, and the Dines Motor Group Recovery and Accident Management as well. Thanks to all of them for their support of the British Truck Racing Championship. Now, hopefully, Pointy has found his way down to the grid there, and we can get some updates from him in a moment.
So here we are down in the pit lane, and not a great first race, or rather re-race from Thruxton for Craig Reed. As Dave just showed you the replay there on the live stream, it looks like he seemed to have had some steering issues. As he came into that first corner, he just darted to the left and ended up in the barrier. They are, of course, currently recovering that truck. If you look around me now, we are in a bit of a limbo, a state of question. No one really knows what's going on. We were, of course, less than halfway through the race, which means, fingers crossed, we should get a restart. I believe they are just organising the grid to go again. But of course, if they re-grid to the start of the race, there'll be a lot of very unhappy drivers, because of course they made some very good progress in the first half of that. Whereas if they go one lap back, then of course it's going to be a very interesting battle when we get underway for the green light speed down that pit straight. We've got a couple of drivers out of their trucks, but a sea of marshals making their way now onto the circuit hi, how are we? To re-grid them, I believe, and it will be a military operation probably to get all of these trucks now jiggled around. It could be a few minutes' time actually before we see anything. Let's walk around, shall we, and have a chat to people to see what goes on. Hi. How are we?
All right,
are you
mate.
well?
Yeah, good.
Very good. Now, when things like this happen, obviously it's not a new thing, is it? These things happen all the time, don't they?
No, yeah, they do. But,
And what is it that people try to, because obviously people that watch from home, I've seen it loads over the years as well, where all the guys from the teams go and scurry out onto the pits, onto the straight, and let's just have a look at this and have a look at that. What are they actually doing at this stage in the race?
well, the worst of it is when the trucks are sort of done half the race, then obviously their brakes is red hot, and then obviously to come to a complete stop, they need to cool them down, and they don't. So it's a case of, you know, any damage or anything like that that can be dealt with or anything.
So we've seen, of course, brake discs and pads just literally explode because they're not getting cooled down, and that's why obviously all the trucks spray water on them, don't they?
Yeah, and that's it, and it can be very dangerous. Like I say, I don't know what's happened with Craig, but it could be in a disc, could be in a spring or anything. So.
Yeah, I mean, watching that replay on the stream, I was just telling the folks at home, he was coming round that bend, very tight line, no issues going into it, but then all of a sudden darts left and across the grass he goes.
I'd say it could be anything. It could be the spring or the disc that has shattered and could cause him to go into there. Like I say, everyone's been there and done it. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, to happen at that stage as well, I mean, a good few laps into the race, it's obviously got to be something, you know, of a malfunction. But will we see him getting back out? Is it damage that's going to last for the rest of the day, or is he going to be all right?
Never say never. So he'll be out.
Just needs to rub the grass off the front bumper and he'll be fine, won't he? Thanks for talking to us, buddy. Good to speak to you soon. Let's go and find some more victims down here. Look at them all separating. Honestly, it's like the parting of the Red Sea. I know who we'll speak to. Hi guys, how are we all? Don't be scared. You just checking up the results, or have you got a bet on today?
No bets.
I'll tell you what, you could have bet that something was going to happen in the first race.
Well, you thought it was.
Well, I thought it was going to be first corner, so they all proved me wrong, didn't they? I knew something was going to happen, though. So, yeah, I mean, Bradley obviously making a fantastic start there, really holding his own. Inevitable that Ryan Smith's going to battle his way through the pack. But nonetheless, a really good position held by that first half of the race. Do you think that Bradley will be disappointed with that, with the early end to it?
He is, because he's had troubles with the steering all morning.
So it's Craig, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I know. So it's and Craig got him over in the back corner, but yeah.
Yeah. So do we think? Yeah. I mean, obviously we've not seen anything of any other kind of contact earlier on, so I don't think there's any question marks there. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How you push a bit harder, you make those moves. All of a sudden, a weak spot becomes a fault, and then you're in the tyres.
Yeah. Well, since he had the crash at Donington, we've had a trouble with it understeering, and it's basically undrivable. But he's doing what he can with it, you know. And he got a brilliant run around the first corner there, and you think, go on, son.
There's a lot to be said about Bradley's racing prowess and skill, though, isn't there? I mean, he's obviously, it doesn't look like his truck is in a bad way, so he's obviously doing very well at accommodating that.
I know. So we're just going to persevere with it. Perhaps change the steering box now, and just, you know, trial and error, really.
Because, I mean, you got it back out the same weekend, didn't you, at Donington? And that was insane. I don't think anybody was expecting to see the green, white and blue back out on circuit that weekend. But you all did it, didn't you?
Yeah, and then we ended up getting it back home, and there was more broken bits on it than we first anticipated. And it ended up back to 2 chassis rails, the engine mounts, you know, straighten the front axle. And so we don't know whether we still got a problem with the front axle but...
Could be a lot of things. Yeah. And how much of this have you been working on the truck at all? What have you got to say about it, standing over here in the quiet?
I'll try and stay quiet because I'm the magic man of the team.
So, the magic man of the team, right, so it's quiet confidence, is that what it is?
That's what they tell me. I don't think it's true, but...
We've got to keep him feeling good, haven't they? You know?
Thankfully, I'm quite local to the boys, so I go up the road from mine, I help them out with the truck and that every now and then, so... I do live a busy life myself, but as and when I can, I go and help out and get the truck ready.
It's nice of him to spare a few 5 minutes, isn't it, for you lesser people?
Comes up and has a beer.
Oh right, yeah, that sounds now we're getting more truck racing. And how's John performed today? He's had some issues, hasn't he?
Yeah, we had some issues initially this morning with the discs on the front. We've managed to get those changed in time, but he got tagged down the bottom there by somebody from pole to last. We're just waiting to see what's happened to him.
Well, this is it, and of course these restarts really can go any way, can't they? Once they get these trucks back under racing conditions, it is anyone to play for, but they are still appearing to make a bit of a pig's ear of the recovery. Not even got him off the grass as yet. Craig Reed still sat there. I'm not sure whether we can get any closer, and of course they're not letting teams out onto the pit straight this time, which is different because of course normally with this much time to spare there'll be the odd check of tyre pressures or water pressures and things like that. People will have a look if there's anything that's been reported in those first few laps. Let's see if we can't find someone else to talk to, shall we? Let's go and attack somebody else. Who have we got? Oh, let's have some officials. Yes, yes. Come here. Come here. Well, it is his birthday, but he obviously doesn't want to tell anybody. So it's his birthday. He's actually having a hog roast later on. So if you are in the Pembrey area, there's probably going to be enough meat going about. Right. Marshals, hello.
Hello.
What's going on? What can you tell me, folks?
All regridded and ready to go.
All regridded and ready to go. And do we know anything about the recovery? How long that's going to be?
We don't have a clue.
Don't have a clue. You're just going to wait for the nod?
Yeah, we're just going to wait till the nod.
Wait till the nod. And what about you've got a clipboard? You look slightly more official. What's going on? What's on the clipboard?
Lap charting today.
Lap charting. Yeah. So is this writing down the order each time they go round?
Each time they come past the start line, we write down the numbers in the order they're in, so we know exactly where they are towards the end of the race, for the timing.
Does anybody else do that at home? Because that seems like quite a difficult job to me. I write down the positions at the end, but I'm not sure how you manage to keep up.
As long as you can count. I have 10 fingers. So.
Oh, yeah. I've never tried using my fingers. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong.
There you go, give it a try.
How long have you been a marshal for?
About 9 years now.
Wow. Have you been doing the trucks that entire time, or are you quite new to this?
This is probably my 5th truck meeting. Second truck meeting on the start line. Started on the bank and moved into assembly.
Also, is that a promotion? Because we're trying to speak to more marshals as we're doing these weekends. I'm trying to get to know the inner workings of the Orange Army, because let's be honest, we see you all around. No one ever, rarely has a camera anywhere near you that we can talk to you guys, and it's always interesting to get a totally different angle on what goes on. What would you say as a marshal is the most impacting thing about incidents like this on the circuit? How does it affect your day or the circuit's day as a whole?
It can throw the timings out, that's the biggest thing. But as long as we get the trucks back into where they are, cars as well, most important thing, as long as everyone's okay at the end of the day, we don't want anybody getting hurt, and get stuff going as quick as we can.
So really it's just the timings then as well, yeah. Always about the timings, isn't it? I mean, it's run on a shoestring as well, the timings. If one thing goes wrong and all of a sudden that's lunch gone, that's afternoon break gone.
Marshals, when the lunch goes, they need that break.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because you're not allowed to use your phones, are you, whilst you're out and about? Because you obviously got to be watching the whole time. Are there any other kind of random kind of things that you are or aren't allowed to do that might surprise people at home?
Ooh, that's a good question. I can't tell you that, unfortunately.
Can't tell me that. That's marshal talking at the top, so you're not allowed. Okay, well, what's your name?
Paul.
Paul. Nice talking to you, Paul. Thanks very much. So what's the regrid? Where are we seeing the regrid? So this is, are we going one? So this is the grid we had.
No, this is the regrid. This is how the truck's on.
Oh, so they've already printed it out based on what you were writing down previously. That is some serious. That's so wow. So if anybody's got a problem with it, Paul's the man to come and see. Have we gone? Let's just have a quick look at that then. So we are regridding with Ryan Smith in pole, Bradley Smith in second. He'll be happy about that. Behind Bradley Smith, we've got Stuart Oliver next to Michael Oliver. That'll be an interesting first corner, won't it? Father and son. Steve Powell next to Dave Jenkins in 5th and 6th. Then Ricky Collett, Simon Faulkner, John Bowler, Tom O'Rourke, Neil Yates in 11th place for that restart. And then in Division 2, we've got Adam Bint starting in front, but next to Craig Evans. Paul Rivette next to Paul and Jim Bennett. They seem to come together. I don't know whether you noticed down that first corner, they had a bit of a hoo-ha first couple of laps, didn't they?
Well, unfortunately, I'm looking this way.
So you just got to counting them as they come round.
I don't get to see what happens, unfortunately. I hear it, but
you just wait for the bump and the crash noise.
Exactly that.
Well, Paul, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
That's your regrid. It does appear that Craig Reed is back under his own power and on the tarmac. So if he is going to be in the restart, then I suppose he better hurry up. So I'm going to hand back to Dave in the studio, and we'll hopefully get back racing soon.
Yeah, good to hear from Pointy, and good to hear from a few of the Orange family as well, our volunteer marshals. Thanks to all of them. We couldn't go racing without them. We are on board with a certain Craig Reed, who's been recovered by the tractor and the recovery truck down there, and is making his way back round rather slowly at the back of the circuit at the moment. You can see how overcast it is today here at Pembrey. The timing screen is showing we will have an 8 minutes restart. So we're basically picking up from where we left off with the trucks in the order that they were in when the red flag went out. Thanks to TSL Timing, as ever, our official timekeepers here on BARC TV. Now, is Craig Reed going to take the restart, or is he going to go into the paddock? We'll wait and see. I'm not sure he's going to restart with the truck in that state, the front panel missing. I would imagine he's going to turn left into the paddock. Yes, he is. So the Reed Freight Truck Sport team is going to go to work on that and get him out for the race later on. Hopefully, race 3 of the weekend, the first Pembrey race, if you like, for the British Truck Racing Championship, scheduled to go off at 10 to 5. And the rest of the trucks in position, 2 Smiths and 2 Olivers at the front of the grid. Ryan and Bradley Smith, no relation between those two. And then the Olivers, father and son, on the second row. Pointy's already given the grid, the revised grid. And it will be an 8-minute restart. So, let's say around 6 or 7 laps of the Pembrey circuit. TRP Daff is back in position to lead them round for the rolling restarts. Ryan Smith just opening his door to cool down a bit. It does get pretty hot in the cabs of these race trucks, especially when you're in your fireproof overalls and everything else. So Ryan had pulled out a lead of nearly 3 seconds by the time the red flag came out. He's got it all to do again, but he's on pole. Had to start originally from 6th on this grid. Of course, this grid now revised to be in the order they were in when the race was red flagged. So no points for Craig Reed from race 1. He stays on 196. Simon Reed as well, not competing in this race because he missed Thruxton with business commitments, nor is Jock Borthwick. He was out at Thruxton injured. Okay, the 30-second board has been held aloft. The pace truck moves off, just waiting for the green flag from our marshal on the rostrum. And then the marshals will vacate the pit lane in the interests of safety. There's Neil Yates, thankfully none the worse for his big accident at Thruxton earlier this year. Tom O'Rourke alongside him. There's the Division 2 trucks headed by Adam Bintz, who's led from pole position. We've lost Simon Cole, unfortunately. We saw during the break with Pointy there, his truck's in the pit lane. Wait to see if he's going to restart. And we're on board with Adam Bintz, who unfortunately his onboard camera's fogged up a bit. It's not that foggy here in South Wales, unfortunately, so apologies there. Hopefully that'll clear as the race goes on. Coming up to Hatchett's hairpin. See from this angle just how tight that hairpin is. Tricky in a car, never mind a truck. Thanks to Richard Barwick, who's in charge of our onboard cameras this weekend. Normally it's Chris Clark, but he's gone to Australia for the Bathurst 1000 touring car race. The lucky devil. There's Simon Faulkner, was initially on pole for this race, but fell back off the starts. Still learning his craft, only his second full season of British truck racing in the ex-Reed Iveco. Thanks again to all your comments. Hi to Tim Brady. He'll be at Pembrey tomorrow, he tells us. Hi to Mark Tucker as well. And GB says good luck Paul Rivette, as does Juliet Rivette. Quite a few Paul Rivette fans watching. There is Paul, the number 22 MAN. Looking to close that gap of 14 points to Adam Bint in Division 2. Division 2 field a little bit smaller than in previous seasons, but that's because a few of the leading runners have moved up to Division 1 for the 2023 season. In recent years, we've seen Stephen Powell and Craig Reed make the move up. This year, John Bowler and Jock Borthwick have joined them. It's Ryan Smith on pole in the bonneted Daimler Freightliner, alongside Bradley Smith in the MAN, and Michael and Stuart Oliver, David Jenkins and Stephen Powell, and Faulkner, Collett, Bowler and O'Rourke. Neil Yates at the back of Division 1. Pace Truck is in pit lane. 8 minutes for the restart of British Truck Racing, race 1 of 6 this weekend here at Pembrey. They postponed events from Thruxton. Revs are up, waiting for the power to come on. These 1,000 horsepower engines. Here we go. Got Ricky Collett up the outside in the 95. Ryan Smith's got the run into the hairpin. Bradley Smith covering on the outside. Michael Oliver trying to get up the inside into Hatchett's hairpin for the first time. Ryan Smith's held his advantage. Is Ricky Collett going to be able to make up any? Adam Bint's been boxed in there. There's been some contact there. I think Bint could be in trouble there. Paul Rivette goes through. That's the last thing Adam wanted to see. Now, has he got some damage? I think there was some contact in there going into the hairpin. Simon Cole there in the background has joined in from the pit lane. David Jenkins goes wide as they go into the crossing. Now, who's leading Division 2? Let's look back. It is Rivette who's got through. They start to sort themselves out. Not the best of starts for Bradley Smith. He's dropped back. Great start by Ricky Collett, charging up the outside into the hairpin. He's made up a few spots. Started back in 8th on the grid. It's Ryan Smith who leads the way and already clearing off. The Olivers first, 2nd and 3rd. And 4th is Ricky Collett. Great run down the outside in the early stages. Bradley Smith runs wide. We heard during the break, during the red flag break, he's been having handling problems with that truck after that damage at Donington, and David Jenkins goes through. Stephen Powell, the man from Kent, trying to get through as well in the number 3. Bradley Smith tries to fight back. Behind them it's John Bowler. Now Ryan Smith already nearly 2 seconds up as they go over the start-finish line. Here comes Stephen Powell, chasing fellow man of Kent, Bradley Smith in the 46. It's Bowler trying to go around the outside into the hairpin. That's a brave move on the brakes. We saw what happened to Craig Reed when he tried that. Well, admittedly, I think that was a mechanical failure that pitched him off. Behind them, the Scotsman, number 86, Tom O'Rourke, the boss of MV Commercial. Bradley Smith, yes, that's MAN. He's not handling well at all. He's all over the place there, coming through Spitfires. Loses out to Stephen Powell. John Bowler gets a wheel onto the grass. He'll lose out to Tom O'Rourke. They're sliding all over the place as soon as they get offline. Simon Faulkner's in there as well. Great stuff in the midfield in Division 1. Paul Rivette's catching them up as well. He leads Division 2, but Adam Bint, after a bit of a slow getaway this time, is catching the MAN in the older Volvo white Aerodyne. Very menacing looking truck, that's in its black and orange livery. Chasing Rivette for the lead. 3rd in Division 2 is John Powell. Then it's Craig Evans. Neil Yates has dropped behind them. He's in a Division 1 truck. 2.5 seconds now the lead for Ryan Smith over Michael Oliver at the front of the field. Stuart Oliver in 3rd. David Jenkins battling it out with Ricky Collett. Pulls ahead into P4 as they come down the pit straights. David Jenkins finally broke his duck for the season with a couple of wins at Snetterton last time out. He remains 50 points behind Ryan Smith in the point standings. They'll be further behind if it stays like this. We'll try and do the mathematics as the weekend goes on. See if Ryan Smith can seal that 8th consecutive Division 1 title. I would say it's unlikely this weekend because he needs to leave this weekend more than 80 points clear of the rest of the field, because that's what's on offer at Brands Hatch in the last round of the year. 15 points for a win. There's 5 races at Brands Hatch, plus a point for pole and a point for fastest lap in each race. So there's 81 points available in the final round. Similar total on offer this weekend as well. 15 points for a win here. Stuart Oliver up alongside his son Michael. Family ties being ditched here. Stuart goes through up into 2nd place. He wants to go after Ryan Smith. There's 4.5 minutes just under to go. Black and white flag goes out. That's the driving standards flag for Ricky Collett, number 95, and number 22, Paul Rivette. I would presume that's for exceeding track limits. If they do it again, they might risk a time penalty. Bradley Smith has dropped down to P7 in his poor handling MAN, chased by Tom O'Rourke and John Bowler. Bradley Smith, of course, had that big accident into the tyre wall at the Craner Curves at Donington at Convoy in the Park in August, and somehow the team rebuilt the truck for the next race. But the front steering and suspension have suffered, and it's not handled the same ever since. There was a cloud of smoke there in the background. Somebody, I think, just had a lock-up going into the hairpin, or it might just have been steam coming off the brakes, and understeering wide there, Tom O'Rourke goes rally crossing again. We mentioned handling problems. I think Tom O'Rourke's having some here. John Bowler behind him. It's the battle for 8th place. Simon Faulkner getting involved as well, the number 92. Again, O'Rourke goes wide. He's all over the show. Here comes John Bowler. No, you don't, says Tom O'Rourke. The Division 2 leaders aren't far behind them. Paul Rivette's still ahead of Adam Bintz. This is great stuff. 3 minutes to go in our first of 6 truck races this weekend at the Pembrey circuits. Ryan Smith is cleared off in front. He's over 4 seconds clear of Stuart Oliver now. Michael Oliver third, then Jenkins, Collins, Powell, then Bradley Smith. We watch the battle for P8. And Division 2 as well, with Paul Rivette leading Adam Bint. The gap there is 0.7 of a second. Through Hatchett's hairpin. I hope the same isn't happening to Adam Bint's windscreen as has to our camera. Otherwise you won't be able to see anything. It's the one non-runner, that's Craig Reed, of course didn't take the restart, crashed out of second place. Incredible sight these trucks make. They may be limited to 100 miles an hour electronically for safety reasons, but they always look as if they're going so much faster. Adam Bint is getting closer and closer to Paul Rivette in the MAN. Still Tom O'Rourke holding off John Bowler. Behind John Powell holding off Craig Evans. Neil Yates behind them, the recovery company boss from the southeast. Ryan Smith, the lead gap has come down a little because Stuart Oliver just did his personal best of 1:11.422. Ryan Smith, the fastest lap of the race, 1:10.861. Stephen Powell all over the back of Ricky Collett. This is the battle for 5th position in Division 1. Ricky Collett had a great run last time out at Snetterton, picking up a podium in the final race of the weekend. Still these two going at it, O'Rourke and Bowler. Just over a minute of this race to go now. Ryan Smith will be coming up to start his final lap. We've hardly seen him all race long because, as expected, from being elevated to pole position, he's cleared off into the distance, as he always does from pole. Stuart Oliver in second. Over the line goes Flying Ryan, begins his last lap. Are we going to see 2 Olivers on the podium, because Michael's being reeled in by David Jenkins. 2 bonneted trucks, the Daimler Freightliner and the Volvo out in front, then the 2 MANs. Can David Jenkins get onto the podium? The answer is yes, because Michael Oliver's gone wide coming out of Hatchett's hairpin. Now, was there contact there? We didn't see. I don't think there was. Jenkins is through and up into P3 in the Digraph Transport Morris Lubricants MAN. Now he'll try and close down Stuart Oliver, but I think he'll run out of time to take P2. They're not going to catch Ryan Smith. He's heading for yet another race victory. He's won the first 2 races at every race weekend this year. Taken 14 wins in total, and it's about to become 15 wins for the season for Flying Ryan Smith. A Nottinghamshire driver comes out of the final corner at Honda. The checkered flag is at the ready. Ryan Smith starts the same way as he has every other weekend this year. He wins the postponed Thruxton race. Second goes to Stuart Oliver. We'll wait to see who's going to be third. This is a battle further back in Division 2 between John Powell and Craig Evans. David Jenkins has taken third. Now for Division 2 it's going to be Paul Rivette. He's pulled away a little from Adam Bintz. This is going to close things up in the Division 2 points. As they come towards the line, the win in Division 2 will just go to Paul Rivette, ahead of Adam Bintz, picking up where he left off at Snetterton. Powell third, then Craig Evans. Neil Yates in the Division 1 truck comes across the line behind them. And next home should be Simon Cole, who, despite starting from the pit lane on the restart, has caught and passed Jim Bennett. Yes, there is the pink and white Iveco. And Jim Bennett, Gentleman Jim, will be the final finisher in the Seddon Atkinson. So Ryan Smith starts as he means to go on with win and fastest lap. I can tell you John Bowler has picked up a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. That'll drop into P12 overall, 10th in Division 1. So we'll try and add up the points then. That's 16 points for Flying Ryan Smith. There's Gentleman Jim. Certainly a fan favourite in his Sed Atkinson. We'll have the provisional results for you in a moment as well. Here they are. Ryan Smith, the winner by just over 4 seconds ahead of Stuart Oliver. Win number 15 of the season for Flying Ryan. David Jenkins passing Michael Oliver on the last lap to take third. Ricky Collett a fine fifth ahead of Stephen Powell. Great start on the restart there by Ricky. Bradley Smith dropping to 7th from the front row ahead of Tom O'Rourke. Simon Faulkner completing the top 10. Paul Rivette, who beats Adam Bint by just over half a second to win Division 2. John Bowler next turn after that 5-second penalty. Then John Powell and Craig Evans, 3rd and 4th in Division 2. Neil Yates, Simon Cole and Jim Bennett completing the finishers. Of course, we lost Craig Reed, bringing out the red flag.